that's where we lead off today with the prediction market business, as we've discussed so many times, it feels like, here on the show. Those of you unfamiliar, there are companies called Kalshi and Robinhood that are offering options on sports and outcomes. They've decided they're not sports betting. States around the country have decided they are sports betting, and another state regulator is letting its licenses know take care of it when it comes to prediction markets. Nevada Gaming Control Board Chair Mike Dreitzer authorized a memo to licensees posting Wednesday with the ominous title of Sports Event Contract R Wagers. So it looks like the state of Nevada is not on board with these prediction markets. And why are they not on board with allowing them to operate? Because they don't pay taxes and they're not legal in the states where sports betting is illegal. Story continues, but those of you who want to play on Kalshi, want to play on Robinhood for the time being, you still can. Meanwhile, PrizePicks announced an imminent return to New York. Of course, they were out of New York in 2024. Daily fantasy sports company has been awarded an interactive fantasy sports operating license by the New York State Gaming Commission. PrizePicks, of course, is peer-to-peer DFS, daily fantasy. They stopped operating at the beginning of 2024. Well, the Seattle Mariners pitching was not operating at all last night. 7 different Blue Jays had RBIs. This was the George Kirby start that you wouldn't have expected. 13-4. Toronto ends up picking up the win. So this win was in Seattle. If you're keeping score at home, Seattle won the first 2 games in Canada. And then now Toronto wins in Seattle. So maybe that's just the dynamic of the series. The home team not going to win. I don't know. We'll see. They will play game 4 today. There's George Springer. Of course, he got off to a good start. Vladimir Guerrero, of course, homered. John Schneider talked about the offensive explosion last night.
Hey, John, at least for now, does the Andres home run have the feeling of a series-changing home run for you guys?
It's a big swing, I think, again, we're focused on tonight, and tomorrow we'll focus on tomorrow. But, I think just kind of, I said it during the game, kind of in that situation, runner at second, nobody out, taking a shot, and trying to be aggressive on Kirby's fastball. So you never know how the game's going to go. You never know who it's going to be, right? But really, really big swing to get us going, and then kind of on down the line that inning. But that was a big swing from Andres.
Obviously, it was an unfortunate start, but I came to the dugout and told the guys, pick me up. I got good stuff tonight, and they definitely listened and picked me up in a huge way. Was able to go back out there in that second inning and kind of reestablish what I wanted to do. And so I felt like even though we were down, we were able to grab some momentum. And this game is so much momentum based, and so we didn't really look back after that. So it was awesome.
Meanwhile, Dan Wilson being questioned, of course, on the pitching, and specifically George Kirby, who was left in to give up several runs. Here's Wilson, the manager of the Mariners, talking about keeping Kirby in.
Dan, obviously not what you wanted to see from George. Can you walk us through what you were seeing from him, and when did you think you needed to pull the string on it, and do you regret not going earlier?
I think, I thought it came out one of the best fastballs we've seen the first couple innings. I thought the way it was coming out of his hand, he looked great. And then, they were able to get to some pitches on the plate a little bit and in that third inning. And then, it was, I think it was 4 2-out runs there at that point, and trying to, get him through that and because he was throwing the ball so well. This is a team that has swung the bat well all year, and they didn't miss much tonight, and they were able to get to him.
Game 4 will be this evening, 8:33 Eastern, so you're going to have to pick either football or baseball to watch tonight. And by the way, how about the starter for the Toronto Blue Jays tonight? Very familiar with the postseason. Washington Nationals World Series champion, although he played on the Mets after that and the Rangers after that, and he moved around. Max Scherzer gets the start tonight. He's plus money, plus 118. Luis Castillo clearly the better pitcher over the course of the regular season, and Scherzer hasn't been all that healthy the last few years, but Scherzer starts tonight. Should be a fun watch. Meanwhile, Brewers take on the Dodgers tonight as well. This is a 6:08 Eastern time game with the Dodgers monster favorites. Brewers haven't decided who's going to start yet. There's some speculation. It could be Jacob Mizorowski. Tyler Glasnow starts for the Dodgers, and the Brewers are in the same position that the Blue Jays were in yesterday. They have to win this game. If they go down 0-3, they're not going to win the series. Okay, tonight it is the battle of the old men quarterbacks as Aaron Rodgers takes on Joe Flacco. That's the backdrop, and expect to see a lot of that on Amazon Prime tonight. Steelers minus 5.5 on the road at Cincinnati. Total of 44.5. Steelers are playing great football. Bengals aren't winning any games. Doesn't matter who's at quarterback, but you never know. Last Thursday, Rams took on the 49ers. Rams were at home. 49ers had no one. 49ers win the game. It's the NFL. Tua Tagovailoa is back in the news again. My gosh, every day, something that he says. Well, I guess he recognized that he probably shouldn't have called out his teammates talking about team meetings immediately after a game. He apologized yesterday in front of the media.
They know my heart. They know that the intent was right, but no matter the intent, the intent can be right, but when things get misconstrued or however the media wants to portray it, that leaves a void of silence and a lot of questions for the guys on our team. Now, being 1-5, we talk a lot about, all right, we got to get this going. We got to get this going. Come in excited to go to work. Forget about the noise. And I feel like I just added onto that for our guys. For myself, I got to look at myself as the leader, protecting the team. I don't feel like I did that to the best of my abilities. I felt like I let the emotions of the game get to me after the game. And, that's something that I can learn from as a leader on this team. And what happens in-house should be protected. And none of that should have gotten out. And so want to publicly apologize about that, want to move forward, and now want to focus on the Cleveland Browns.
Good that he blamed the media there for all of that, as if the media perpetrated him saying that after the game on Sunday. Okay. J.J. McCarthy is probably not going to play. It looks this week like there's another start coming for Carson Wentz. His ankle not 100%. The Vikings are back after the bye week. No firm decisions made, but the coach and the quarterback talked about the possibility yesterday.
Where do things stand as far as your starting QB for Sunday, Kevin?
They stand in the same place they did Monday when I answered that question.
How will you handle it in practice in terms of reps and between Carson and JJ?
Yeah, they're both going to get work, both going to get reps, and very much looking forward to our whole team getting back out there.
It's really hard to say if they slipped just because my ankle isn't 100%. So it's like, you're battling that mental hurdle, you're battling, how inhibited am I to perform this certain movement. So it's really hard to say if it's slipped or not, but it's one of those things where it's just a seesaw for the rest of your career. So it's going to be fine tuning regardless of, how well you perform or how well you don't. So
meanwhile, the surface has come under some fire in Pittsburgh. Players expressing that they got to get that stadium fixed, the turf fixed. We've heard this for years. Nothing's going to change in Pittsburgh. They got a college game this week, too. All right, LeBron James expected to return around mid-November. It was diagnosed initially, I think, with sciatica. That's like a nerve issue, so he's going to be out probably for approximately a month. Jason Kidd hasn't quite said what's going to happen with their first overall pick, Cooper Flagg. We'll see. Also, the Kings signed Keegan Murray, 5 years, $140 million. NBA season begins next week.